God made a woman from the ribs that he got from the man and brought her to the man and saw that it was good. He then looked at them both and said, if you take the same ribs but of a pig and put them on a smoker, they are delicious. Today we're making my favorite thing to make for game day, for really any occasion, but they're perfect for game day. We are making Memphis style ribs. Last night I went ahead and used the old kosher salt and dry brined it, just like we did with the boneless ribs before. The other ingredients that we're going to need for today, a little mayo or yellow mustard, whichever you have. I have more mayo than yellow mustard, so I'm going to use that. And my Memphis dust. Again, a link to the recipe in the description down below. After that, I usually add a little extra pepper. Then we have some Worcestershire sauce, and then something I'm pretty excited about. We'll talk more about it later. We got some hot tam, that's some good sauce. Hot Tams sauce. This here is called Wyoming Eclipse, and some Hot Tams hot honey. Memphis style ribs with a hot tam kick. For some seasoning, I always go with the underside first. So put a thin layer of mayo, coating that, and these sides over here too. Then I can add my seasoning. Sprinkle it on, get a good amount on, and just push it into that red meat in there. And then finally, a little more pepper. And I'll do that for all sides. So these extra meaty baby back ribs are going to set now that they've been all seasoned and everything. And I'm going to put these on the Traeger this time. I'm going to be a pellet head and use the Traeger. So while these are setting, I'm going to get the Traeger preheated up to like 180 degrees, or you can use your smoke setting. Sometimes on my Traeger, when I use the smoke setting, it gets like way hot. So, but if I get it to the 180 degree setting, then it maintains that temperature more accurately. So you know your grill, but this is gonna essentially, you know, we want to spend about 3 hours we just want to get as much smoke into this meat as we possibly can while it's slowly heating up. The Traeger grill is just about at our target temperature on the 180 degree setting. I have a few last things that I want to do to these ribs before we put them out on the smoker. You can break down your rib grilling session or your barbecue session by beverage. So in the morning, you can go a little page out of the Danny Whitney book, get up early, good cup of coffee, and that gets you through about the first 3 hours of your barbecue session. This is the way. After that, then you can move on to a little iced tea, and then in the afternoon, Dr. Pepper, or an adult beverage if you're so inclined. That's kind of your regimen of fluid consumption, and also helps to let you know when you're getting close to being done with your barbecue. So the last two things I want to put on these ribs before they're on the grill, this sauce here that I'm super excited about, Hot Tams, HOTTAMN.com is the name of the website. And there's a little deal going on for you Sing Second listeners out there, where you can go on there and get a little discount. Details are on our Facebook and Twitter and in the description down below. So like I said before, this is the Wyoming Eclipse sauce, and they have a huge variety of sauces and seasonings and spices and honeys, and even like jalapeno crackers or jalapeno pretzels, candies, all sorts of good stuff there. But my favorite things are the hot sauce and the spicy honey. 3 words for you: delicious. If you're not sure what kind of hot sauce to get, you can look at their thermometer on the webpage and kind of gauge your heat tolerance. But it's not just about the heat, it's also about the flavor. It is very good. It's made in Torrington, Wyoming, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from us from North Platte. And I know a lot of our listeners are from the WYO. So that's kind of a cool thing where you could go out and support some of our listeners, and also they're supporting us by giving us discounts on the hot sauce. Like I said, gauge your heat tolerance on the thermometer and give it a try. And if you get one that's a little too hot, you know, just keep trying it, keep tasting it. Like my good friend Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And then the next time you can get more of a mild flavor. So I'm gonna put a little of this solar sass on these ribs. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on there and then kind of brush it over the top of these ribs. Okay, now I'm gonna brush it on just to kind of keep it even over the top of these ribs. Like I said earlier, these are baby back ribs. But maybe if you're a bowler out there, you might want to try this with some spare ribs. I'm going to sprinkle a little Worcestershire sauce in there as well. And now I'm going to throw these babies on the grill. These will stay kind of on this temperature for about 3 hours or so. Ultimately, these ribs are going to be maybe between 190 or 205, somewhere depending on your preference of the temperature. But ribs are tricky with the temperature probe. So as we get closer to that time, I will show you the break test that'll show you a little bit better how to tell if your ribs are done. All right, so we are a few hours into the smoke here in the iced tea stage of the smoke, and I'm getting a little bit hungry, so I'm going to take one of these pre-cooked kielbasa's, and I'm just going to kind of throw that in there on the smoker along with the ribs. They look like they're coming along pretty good. I still have about an hour before the official check, but sometimes you smell these ribs all morning and you start to get your stomach growling and everything, so it kind of helps to tie you over if you throw something else on there that you can kind of snack on in the meantime. All right, the ribs are in good shape, and I'm going to bring up the temperature to about 225, and then I'm going to check about every hour or so with the break test and maybe splash a little Worcestershire sauce in the meantime. So it's been about an hour since our last check, so I'm just going to use these tongs, try to pick up the ribs, and it's not really getting the breaks going here, so when I lift it up and you'll start to see kind of breaks in the bark going vertically through there, then you'll know it's about ready. At the final stage, the Dr. Pepper stage of our ribs. Alright, it looks like this will probably be about ready in an hour or so. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little butter on the top, squeezable butter works a little bit better. I didn't have any of that. The store didn't have any of that here. So I just kind of cut some slices of butter. See that little crack. And kind of let that drizzle over the top. Sometimes I'll wrap this up in foil when I do it, but I don't think I'm going to do that this time. So that's the butter. Then I'm putting in the old hot honey, Hot Tams hot honey. I'm going to drizzle it over the top, and then I'll probably brush it to make it more consistent if I need to. I'm just going to kind of go in a little diagonal over the top here. All right. And I'll kind of fix that butter, brush this up, give it a good little coating on the top, and then let it set for about another hour. You can see right there where that's starting to break by those tongs. Solid. Finally, we are done. The ribs smell great. Everything went according to plan. You can see the brake test right there. The Phillies won 2 games today. We're recording tonight live at the D Street Studios for our podcast. This is probably one of the top 37 days of my life. If not, honorable mention at least. This is gonna set, maybe a half hour longer or so, and then we'll cut into these. The hot sauce smells great. Don't forget, go to hottam.com. Give some of those sauces a try. Take advantage of that discount for sure. And let me know which sauces you try and how they enhance your tailgate recipes. If you want, you can cut them up and put 3 on a plate, 5 on a plate, 7, maybe 13. If you use those numbers, then it's prime rib. I'm excited because we can eat these tonight. We can record, and you can listen to a Husker special of Sing Second Podcast probably by tomorrow morning. Just thought of this episode. We're not dropping this for another couple weeks. If you're watching this tailgate video, our podcast of Huskers has dropped, and you should have already watched it by now. This is my last video for this season 1 of the Tailgate Crew. Let me know what you think and what changes you want for season 2 next summer. And grill first, sing second.